As we wind down the year 2015, I want to take a look back on my purchases this year. My purchases specifically of LPs that are new music, not reissues, not compilations, just strictly new music. And just take a look, review, show what I picked up that's brand new in 2015, and for myself to look back and see how I did. My purchasing style for new music is that usually I'll come across an article about something or somebody will show something, on YouTube. And I'll listen to a clip or two just for a little bit, and then I'll make a decision, do I want to try this out or not? I'm going to review, I'm going to show what I picked up. I'm going to break this into 7 parts because there's 35 or 40 albums that I've picked up that fit this criteria this year. And given my style of not listening to an album online or however you can before actually purchasing it, when I'm done with these 7 installments, I want to kind of see if this has been a good idea for me. If it's really fiscally prudent to keep on purchasing albums, new music based on kind of a whim or a feel or just like a clip or two of a song or two, and see if this is the way I should be doing things. So anyway, I'm just going to take a look back on 2015. I'm going to kind of go through these records chronologically, and I'm going to start out today showing the 6 records that are LPs, brand new music, that I picked up that all were released in January of 2015. Let's take a look. Hi everybody, my name's Tom. You're watching my channel, High Rant District. And again, in this episode I want to show the 6 records I picked up that were released in January 2015 that are brand new music, not reissues, not compilations. First I want to start out with a band that's, I guess you call them a Portland band. Portland, Oregon's where I live. The album's called, this band is called and the album is called, the title of the album is The Failure. This came out on January 13th. It's limited to 250 records, copies. So, rock, sort of indie rock. It's the debut LP by And. And let's see here. And. Let's take a look inside. We've got an insert. It's kind of similar to the cover. On the flip side, it's got the lyrics. And let's see, record came in plain white sleeve. I put it in a poly sleeve. That's what the label looks like. I'm a believer that, let me backtrack. My philosophy about when people ask me, how do you define good music? Good music, to me, moves you. And it moves you in one of 3 ways. It either moves you intellectually, gets you thinking. It moves you emotionally. It makes you feel. It brings you up. It commiserates you when you're down. Whatever the mood you're looking for, or maybe it's an emotional connection to a place and time, a part of your life. Music's a soundtrack to our life so much, and maybe you connect emotionally. So music can make you move intellectually, emotionally, or physically. Just get you moving around. And The Failure struggles on all 3 counts for me. I'll give it, a few more listens, but it's just not grabbing me. This is kind of flat. It's rock. It's fine, but it's kind of like you want some imaging when you're listening to the music, and you want to hear maybe the vocals out front, and the instruments behind, or they shift a little bit, or the vocals are behind the music. Everything just felt kind of flat here. The music just didn't grab me. Second album is It's a debut album by Calgary quartet, I guess they are. Viet Cong. This came out on January 20th. It's their debut album. Got 7 songs on it. So still, I guess it's considered an LP. It's on Jaguar Records. It's got a heavy-duty inner sleeve. Kind of a thick cardboard. Lyrics on the flip side. It's it's post-punk, which especially, not gonna say especially. I have an affection for post-punk. It's hard for me to not like post-punk. And this is a really good record. It's not great. I was hoping for kind of greatness here, but it's good. I like it a lot, and I will continue to listen to it. And let's see here. Came on white vinyl. Here's a look at the label. Good stuff. Viet Cong. Viet Cong, VC, vinyl community, kind of goes together. Next up, also released on January 20th, is a debut album by Mind Brains. It's self-titled, so it's called Mind Brains as well. It's experimental. Take a look at the flip side. It's got it's called, they refer to it, in the press as a super band. It's got members of Montreal and then some other bands that I don't know, somewhere out of Athens, Georgia, if I'm not mistaken. Came on a plain white inner. It's got a little fold out in here. Nothing special. It's I don't consume a whole lot of experimental music. It's very challenging to listen to. However, with Mind Brains, so far, I like the challenge. It's electronic, it's experimental, it's interesting. Because it's experimental, it's one of those things where it's not really cohesive. It's going to sound very, very different from song to song. But it's interesting, and it's, the more I listen to it, the more it grabs me. So far, so good. It's kind of a plain black label there. And this is on Orange Twin Records. And in the description below, when I'm done here, I'll put a link to a song from each of these records so you can kind of get a feel, because I'm terrible at really communicating what the music sounds like, and I know a lot of these bands are going to be new to a lot of people. Speaking of which, our next artist is not going to be new to anybody. This came out on January 20th. It is the 10th album maybe by Marilyn Manson. It's called The Pale Emperor. And there's a couple of versions of this album. I think it's 10 songs primarily, but this album is a double album, although it's not a gatefold. It just comes in the plain sleeve, plain poly sleeves, 2 sleeves. It's a double album. That's what the label looks like. It's on Lorna Vista Records. Yeah, it's got 13 songs here on the 4 sides. I saw Marilyn Manson, mid-90s maybe, for the first time, kind of by accident. I went to a 9 Inch Nails concert, and the opening band was Marilyn Manson. I kind of heard the name. I didn't know anything about him. They were terrible. He dropped his pants and stuck the mic up his butt at the very end. It was bad. Fortunately, the second opening act was the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow. That was great. And 9 Inch Nails, at that time, were absolutely phenomenal. So I don't have any other Marilyn Manson in my collection other than The Pale Emperor. And, I kind of read a blurb or two about it being a little bit bluesy, so I took a chance on it. This is probably one of the best albums of new music that I've come across this year. It's really, really fantastic. It's kind of thing maybe, best digested with a bottle of whiskey at night in the dim light. But it's just like you know what I said about like how music moves you is what if it moves you in some way, intellectually, emotionally, physically. If it hits on one of those three, it's a good record. If it hits on more than one, it's a great record. And I think this is a great record. Man, this thing is crafted. The songs are phenomenal. They're like visceral, and the lyrics are just amazing. Don't dismiss this album. I would check it out. If you're checking it out on YouTube, I would say, I don't like the visuals on Marilyn Manson's videos. I kind of feel like they're telling me what I should be getting out of a song, and I feel that way about a lot of music videos. Don't pay attention to the visuals. Just listen to the music. It's really, really fantastic, and it's particularly on vinyl. It is great sounding. I highly, highly recommend this. This is a great album. Marilyn Manson's The Pale Emperor. Okay, album number 5 out of 6. Australia, Melbourne, Australia's Twerps. They're called the Twerps. This is Range Anxiety. I think it's their second or third album. It's kind of guitar poppy. Heard a clip from one song. Thought it was something to take a chance on. Took a chance. It's okay. I'm not sure it's a keeper. I mean, guitar poppy is not necessarily my thing, but there's an element of sweetness to this album that means I really need to take another listen to it. It's black vinyl, plain old label. It's on Merge Records. Merge does a lot of good stuff, and a lot of times I'm a little bit more tempted to take a chance on something that's being distributed or pressed by Merge. At least in the United States, it's out on Merge. It's a different distributor in Australia. There's 13 songs on it. It's just a single album. The songs aren't very long. I think it might be a little bit too many songs for the album. Maybe if they culled a few songs that are kind of like, where things go off track, it might be a better album. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this. I'll give it a few more listens. Probably not going to keep it. But if you like, kind of rock, pop rock, this might be something you would like. Last thing I'm going to show is another Australian band. I believe this is their debut. The album is called Indian Summer, and it's by Hellions. Kind of a young band. This came out on January 30th on We Are United or We Are Unified Records. Here's a look at the back. And came in a plain white inner sleeve, but it's got an inner here that is kind of neat. Folds open. It's got a lot of neat artwork going on there. And song lyrics on the inside. And this came out, there's like 300 copies of this album out. 100 of them are on this purple and blue and maybe yellowish. And there's like, 100 on another mix and 100 on another mix colors. When it arrived, I'm pretty sure it came from Australia, had a split at the top, such is life. And here's a look at the cover. And the backside, it's kind of this is a really good album. It's if you look on Discogs, it says rock, it says hardcore, but it's a lot of things. It's punk, it's metal, it's hardcore. You got some melodic elements in here, some keyboards, some piano. It's a little bit unpredictable, but really powerful, really a great listen. If you like your rock, generally if you like your rock harder, if you like metal and you're a little adventurous, as to what type of metal you listen to, I highly recommend this album. It's Hellions, Indian Summer. Really good album. So those are the 6 albums that I picked up that came out in January. This is episode 1 out of 7. And I would keep, I would say, if you ask me, like, out of these 6 albums, how do you assess, how you did? I'd keep Hellions. I'd keep Marilyn Manson's The Pale Emperor. Keep Viet Cong. The first album, and, probably not going to keep it. The Twerps album, when I say I don't know, usually that means no. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. That probably means no. And then Mind Brains is interesting. Need a few more listens. Probably going to keep it. It's probably one of those that, I'm not advanced enough as a human being to grab it right away. And I would probably be regretful if I were to get rid of it and then find in the future I want it again. And so, 4 out of the 6 are, 3 out of the 6 are definite keepers. Most likely 4 out of the 6. 2 of them, I'm probably going to trade in for something, for credit or whatever, and go from there. So anyway, those were my January releases, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.